Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you so much for joining another edition of HR Mentorship Learning Series. The title we'll be looking at today is Linking Human Resource Management, and Organizational Strategy. Linking Human Resource Management and Organizational Strategy. In this series, we have done about 40 or more series so far. And I can say without fear or favor that this is perhaps, quote me anywhere, the most important topic we could ever handle. And we are also very privileged that we have the right type of professional to anchor it. I would like to introduce our facilitator today, Mr. Isaac Orolubagbe, who happens to be the MD of Korea Plus. Now, I need us to realize that even his profile is worth listening to. And from his profile, you'll be able to get insight. Isaac Orolubagbe is a senior fellow at the Strategy, Entrepreneurship and SPEP Department of Lagos Business School. He's also an adjunct faculty, Strategy and Corporate Governance at Strathmore Business School, Nairobi, Kenya. His area of interest include business strategy, innovation, and corporate governance. As CEO of Aceltra Limited, a strategy and innovation consulting company, he advises companies such as McKGAA, Inland Containers Nigeria Limited, Cyfax Group, Green Spring Schools, and Korea Plus Services Limited on how to ensure profitability and sustainable growth using innovative principles and techniques and promotion of healthy culture to enable successful execution of business strategies. For more than 30 years, Isaac has worked successfully at senior levels in diverse industries. These include audit and finance, consulting, aviation, air express logistics, freight and maritime, oil and gas, and with keen interest in entrepreneurship. His indelible footprints can be seen in his role as Treasury Controller, DHL Nigeria, Senior Accountant, Shell Petroleum Development Company, Managing Director, Red Star Express PLC, a licensee of FedEx Corporation in West Africa, a position he held for 10 years. He was also the CEO at Skyway Aviation Handling Company, SACO PLC. Currently, Isaac is a chairman of Book Trust Microfinance Bank Limited, chairman, Fastizers Foods and Confectionery Limited, board director for Better Computers Limited, Park City Homes Limited, and IDC Farms Limited. In the past, he has served as director for Thomas Watts PLC and vice chairman of Red Star PLC. Isaac holds a degree from the University of Ife, now Obafemi Awolowo University, and a Master's of Business Leadership from the University of South Africa. He is a chartered accountant and a fellow of the Institute of Chartered Accountants, FCA. He is also a fellow of the Institute of Directors and a fellow of the Society for Corporate Governance Nigeria. It is with joy, pleasure, excitement, and gladness of heart that I would like to present to us Isaac Orolubagbe. Thank you so much, sir, for joining. We do not take you for granted. We are currently 51 on this call. We will hit 100 in the next 10 minutes. You can share your screen and the floor is yours. Thank you so much, sir.
Thank you. Thank you, Yemi. It is indeed a privilege and an honor to join you on this mentoring platform. And I have to thank you. You know, I was asking you a few minutes ago whether this is part of the Institute of Chartered Institute of Personnel Management program. You said no, that is personal. And I'm happy and I'm very, very delighted to associate with this type of efforts where we bring professionals together to share perspectives. And as you look out for the interest of others, I pray that God will also look out for everything that is yours. And thank you for reading out my profile. And I always find it interesting when people read my profile. You know, why do I find it interesting? Nobody writes about all my failures. How many times I did school certificates is exempted from, you know, CV. And even as they said, I'm a chartered accountant. Did anybody at some point in time? It's never read. And that's the beauty of a CV. However, the real story of life and the great lessons of life are hidden in failures. There is so much more to learn from your failures than from your successes. So if there's anybody in this room who have failed before, you're welcome to my club. You know, CVs is one thing, the real life is another thing. And in Yoruba, we have this popular saying, you haven't suffered before, you said you have experience. Who taught you? It is from our tribulations that we really pile up some really decent and precious experiences. So you are welcome, and I'm happy to be with you. My mandate this evening is the topic that is before you, linking human resource management to organizational strategy. All right. So two things I want us to accomplish in the 1 hour, 15 minutes or thereabouts. It's about 10 minutes after 7 now. Which I want us to have a common agreement on what corporate strategy is about. What is strategy? And then the second thing I want to do is to see how can we link up the work of human resource professional in strategy formulation and, of course, execution of strategy. How can you, as an HR guru, help the company creating or formulating a strategy that can win? That's one. When you have the strategy, you also need to go out and execute the strategy. When you have a great strategy in your drawer and it's not implemented, it's nothing but daydreaming. We all have great ideas, great dreams, but when you look outside the street, you see somebody else is already implementing that idea that occurred to you 2 or 3 years ago. What's the difference between you and the guy? That person went out to implement, you are still, you know, dreaming about implementing. So idea is no idea until it's tested out in the market space. So how can you as HR professional make sure that when we have a beautiful strategy, it will also become a great strategy in the marketplace, one that can win? So these are the two things I want us to accomplish. Now, today is a beautiful day. Arsenal, you know, if there's any of us who are members of fans of Arsenal, Arsenal has managed to deal a terrible blow, 5-0. I don't know how they did it. And even Man U still got away with 1-0 over West Ham. So if you're part of the game, what did you notice? You know, football is such an interesting game, which you can look at from perspective of a funnel. The coaches are very smart people and they use experiences to lead their team to success, recognizing fully the individual ability of the team members, recognizing the capacity of the opposing, the team they want to play. And before a game is played, you know, they do a lot of rehearsal and training. And what do coaches try to accomplish during their coaching or training session before the tournament? They want to make sure that all their players are skilled footballers. You see them testing ball control, the ability to pass ball accurately, and of course, positioning. We don't need to shout on each other or talk to each other before you know how to position if you understand your teammates. As soon as they are moving in a particular direction, you envisage their next move. Okay? So the coaches teach a lot of positioning. Of course, they also continue to polish the basic skills of football. How do you shoot your penalty precisely to get goals? How do you use the free kicks to advantage? The corner kicks. And of course, how do we create scoring opportunities? Because if you don't take the ball to the corner, to within the penalty area of your opponent, well, how are you going to score? So holding on to balls, passing balls correctly is what will take you to the scoring opportunity areas. And of course, the last but not the least is the instructions that the coach has designed that they hand over to you in your dressing room. Playing to instruction is one of the great things that make a very good football team. Why did I bring the football team into our discussion today? And it's one great thing, and that is, I'm coaching Vince Lombardi here. He's one of the greatest coaches in the United States, and he's cited in the Hall of Fame for NBA. He left this coach that will use his strategy till tomorrow. The best game plan in the world, never tackle or block anybody. You can have a great strategy. If you don't get out there to execute it, you are still going to score 0. So great coaches know that it's important that players play according to instruction and go out and carry those mandates. Corporations are not different from football teams. When we select our staff, we are looking for people with the right capabilities that we can take to market and win. We're looking for people who have the right temperaments, who can be a team player in terms of responsibility taking. They don't blame others, they accept responsibility for success of the team, and they act in accordance to the instructions or the philosophy of the team. So let me pause here and ask 2 or 3 people among the audience to give me what they consider their own definition of strategy. What is strategy to you? Now, if you volunteer your hands, or you can give us your answer in the chat room. Okay, so who wants to volunteer? What is strategy? Maybe let's hear it from the perspective of HR professional. Yes, Samuel, the floor is yours. Remember to unmute yourself first.
Yes, thank you, sir. Thank you. Good evening, everyone. Can you hear me clearly, sir?
I can. Good evening.
Okay, sir. So strategy is about winning. It's about, those processes, methods, procedures, ideas put together that will help you to win. It's about winning. Going out there, win. That's all I can say.
I like this. You must be a great competitor. Thank you very much, Sam. Any other perspectives? Strategies about winning. Yeah, thank you. I really like this.
We have some comments, sir, on the chat box. I can read them if you are okay with that.
That's okay. That's all right.
Okay. So Adebola Bankole says strategy is a structured and well planned out arrangement of activities aimed at achieving a particular goal. Joy says strategy is a unique way of accomplishing set goals and tasks.
Wow.
Then someone says, I believe strategy are the set rules and tactics used by organization to achieve a particular goal.
That's correct.
Says, strategy is set of plan used to achieve your deliverables.
Fantastic.
Lawal says, strategy could be defined as the tactics, modalities, or process put in place to achieve success or an objective. Josephine Eizode says that Strategy is what gives an individual an edge over others.
Wow.
Benedict Modili says strategy basically is a pattern or concept put together in order to achieve a certain goal. Thank you, sir.
Now you have favor of Joe. Strategy is a roadmap that you follow to achieve your goal. And maybe we said an action turn into reality. I'm dealing with serious professionals here. These are beautiful definitions. When I was in college, I read a book written by these three gentlemen, Professor Thompson, Strickland, and Gamble, and this is their definition of strategy. It consists of competitive moves, business approaches that managers employ to attract and please customers, to compete successfully, grow the business, conduct your operation, and achieve targeted objectives. If you listen to everything that was read out from the chat room, you can borrow or you can see some of these statements also coming out from you. There are so many definitions for strategy, depending on where you're coming from. If you are an operation expert, you're going to emphasize operation. If you belong to the Michael Porter School, positioning will be your basis of definition. And if you believe in, if you're a private equity guy, you're going to be asking questions. What is the core competency of our organization? How do we drive the core competencies? So there are all sorts of definitions, and the markets and the academics are still doing a lot of work and giving us more perspective on strategy. Okay, now traditionally, this is the way we have been approaching strategy in the last 30 to 40 years. The first thing is to have between the company vision, mission, and objective. And then the second thing is to look at your environment and sniff out opportunities for your business. Now, that environment can be the external environment, or it could be internal environment. When we say internal environment, what endowments do you have as a company? Is it people you have? Is it culture? Is it adherence to processes? Every company has their own tradition. That tradition is either helping you to win or to lose. And of course, when you look at the environment and you know where you're going, you decide this is how we're going to play in the market. Strategy is a selection. It's a choice you make on how to play based on 1, 2, or 3. And there is nothing like a correct strategy. What is important is that the strategy you choose is appropriate for your company. The strategy you choose can help you to exploit the opportunity you have seen, and it will help you to win. Once you decide on a strategy, then you go for it and implement. So the discussion today, I'm going to use these steps as a framework for interrogating how we, HR practitioners, can align or help strategy to succeed. Now, this area, I'm not supposed to come here to define HR management. This is your area. But where as a layman, I know that HR management, is one department I have in my company that looks after all my people issues. They look after all my people issues. And some of the things we know is, okay, what kind of structure should we have? Recruitment and filling up the structure, employee training and development, labor relations, benefits and compensations, information and payroll. These days, information is a big thing in the days of data analytics. And of course, compliance with rules and procedures. This, you can expand it, but I think this about this 8 points or 7 points can cover most of the issues that we see every day on HR management. So now my main challenge is HR and strategy. How do you support and help strategy to flourish? So I'm going to break it into two. The first is the formulation of strategy. Most of us may not be engaged in the formulation of strategy if you are still operating below the personnel director level or GM level. But at the big level, we look into the future like crystal ball. This is where we do visioning. Where are we leading the company? How should the company look in the next 10 or 20, 40 years? So what do the big men in HR contribute to strategy formulation? Now, I'm going to look at it under these 3 steps. The visioning, creating a vision and mission statement, and coming up with objectives that can provide stretch that people can look up to and say, oh, I would like to work for a company that is driving or striving to achieve this kind of goal. The second thing is environmental analysis. How do you come in to help in assessing the environment? And of course, the choice of strategy. Okay, so what is vision statement? It's a peep into the future or what is the overarching vision of your enterprise. Okay? Vision, what other, okay. You know this nice song that we always sing in the church. Do something new in my life. Do something new in my life, oh God. Now, very soon, this is October, by December, people are going to pick their pencil and start writing about a New Year resolution. What great thing do we want to do in the life? What great thing do you, if you are a player in an industry, when you come out with your company, what great thing do you want to do for the marketplace that will excite the market? What new thing do you want to bring to the life of your customers? What new thing do you want to bring to the life of your staff? Most of those are usually encapsulated in the vision statement. I brought an example here of Southwest Airline. Now, why did I bring this airline? This is the most profitable and the most successful airline in the world. I think they've been making profit nonstop for about 35 years. When other airlines are always complaining about the environment, or even in the heat of 9/11, Southwest Airline made profits. What is their vision statement? They set out to be the most loved, the most efficient, and the most profitable airline in the world. And they are accomplishing that. They have a business model that allows them to do this. They don't use the main airports where there's go slow. They prefer those little airports in the outskirts of cities. And since they want to be loved, how do they select their own staff? Very interesting. They only pick people who love what they do and who love people who think that they are going to have fun flying in the air. And they go to a lot of extent to pick people who cannot be ruffled by situation that they meet. If there's an emergency, they crack a joke about it. I flew this aircraft from Memphis to, I think, from Memphis to Houston. This is the first time in my life. I never experienced it before. As soon as we took off, the air was saying, ladies and gentlemen. I said, what's going to happen? Today is the bad day for one of us. The guy, he just mentioned the guy, he was on road 20, and the party started. Champagne was open. They distributed cup to all of us. Before we finished singing happy birthday, we're landing. I mean, it was a lovely, wonderful experience. The guy was crying. I mean, you imagine, he never expected that anybody remember his birthday, but Southwest Airline never forgets such tiny thing. Not only did they remember, we marked the birthday in a grand style in an aircraft. I never forget it. It's a beautiful experience. Now, as an HR professional, how can you help a company like Southwest, who is set to be the most profitable, the most efficient? Now, your job as HR professional, you need to interrogate what kind of capabilities should the staff have to drive this vision? What type of culture should we have in the company that will support the goal of the company? And then the processes, and then, of course, checking from time to time, making sure that there's a performance management system that will deliver on the outcome. Now, let's go into mission statements. And I'm bringing Tesla here as the example. What did Tesla set out to do? You know, Tesla, they make Tesla car, these nice, interesting electric cars. The company say, we are going to accelerate the world transition to sustainable energy. Tesla is setting out to remove cars that are using petrol, and they are doing a good job at that. Not only are they building cars, they are building powerful batteries, solar panels. Tesla is leading the world to move from fossil fuel to solar fuel, you know, and this is the direction of those of us who are concerned about sustainability. Now, you as HR, is still the same responsibility you have. What kind of people do you need to put together that will drive this Tesla's ambition? It still drops that about capability, cultures, leadership and the behaviors of people in the company and the outcome that you desire. Are you monitoring that people are delivering on those outcomes? Okay, now let's look at environment and the environment. How do you sniff out opportunity out of an environment? This is an eclectic process. To sniff out opportunity, you can't just be an HR person. You have to be an economist, you have to be a street player, you have to be an accountant, you have to be a political analyst, you need multiple skills to be able to read your environment and discover opportunities or discover pains. What is bugging people? What is the pain in the legs of people? How can you remove those pain? I mean, look at Nigeria. If I digress a little now, and we start talking about the complaints and the terrible issues around this country, this next 2 hours we'll be busy talking. Meanwhile, as business people, our job is to design a business model that will remove all these complaints from Nigeria. If security is the challenge, set up a security company. People will pay you for making them secure. If there's no water in your community, set up a water processing plant. You'll be amazed. People will line up in front of your house to buy water. Now, every problem you see around the country, if you look closely, you will see opportunities inside those problems. So, as a business leader, what is your concern? Now, I want to use the business of education in this country because we're just getting out of the ASU crisis. Now, the university education or education whatsoever is one of the most profitable business that anybody can go into. Yet, we're making a mess of it in Nigeria. So, how do you see Nigeria? Is it a land of ASU problem or an economy with potential for growth characterized with youthful population and low purchasing power? Education sector has huge potential for investment and for impact. There's an increasing trend of African young people being educated in the private sector. Statistics says 23% of all the young men in sub-Saharan Africa are no longer in public school, they're in private school. 3 key challenges if you are coming into that space. How do you promote access, especially in a country that is capital of poverty? What is the quality of education you want to give? And what is the relevance of the education to the society? People are coming out of university in this country and they can barely speak English. People are coming out of school looking for a job, complaining and complaining and complaining. Why don't you set up a school that will eliminate this complaint? Why don't you set up a school when the graduates come out, they become managing directors? There are many schools in the world that are able to boast of such offerings. I remember a course that, is it John Hopkins? No, there's one of the schools in America is an elite school. They set up a faculty of digital entertainment. And if you get admission to do masters on that program, one company in Hollywood employs you immediately. You don't get a job after graduation, you get a job upon admission. Now, how many Nigerian universities can boast of graduates that will secure job upon graduating from their department of their school or faculty? So we can come up with a solution that makes, I see that in a lot of secondary schools. You say, oh, our graduates from Dowen College score 100% admission to university. I see that with secondary school. Many, even James Hope, if you look at the newspaper last week, the school by Jim Ovia, and they listed A. They are so proud to showcase the quality of their students. When would Nigerian university organize itself to showcase the graduates that they are producing? Not just showcasing them, the amount of changes and beautiful things they're bringing to the market. So if there's any of us here who is an educationist, Nigeria is a beautiful place for education business. But we have poverty. So you need a business model that will allow the mass of the people to access it. You need a good set of human beings to put together content, the experience, teaching experience that people will be proud of. And of course, we need an education that will make them to shine in the marketplace. I see a lot of comments are coming, but most of them are about definition. All right. Okay. So What should be your role as an HR person? It doesn't change. What kind of capabilities do you have to put together to build a great school? What cultures should we have? I mean, I'm a faculty in Lagos Business School. Maybe I can sell the school here. One thing we're so proud of, I'm so particular, I'm extremely emphatic on is integrity and ethics. Any teacher that crosses the line is removed immediately. This is the name of the school is associated, is surrounded by ethical behavior. And the school holds dearly to ethics, among many other things. Now, we need schools all over Nigeria that will stand up and be known for something. We can't just be copying each other. If you look at most Nigerian universities, they're doing the same courses. Chemistry in all the so many universities, history. Why can't they come up and design solutions that will solve Nigerian problem? I look up to some of you coming up with your own program that will make this country a better place. Now, how can you, as an HR professional, help in crafting strategy? How? Okay, let's see this example that I brought forward. A friend has called you, you want to set up a new bank, and you are the HR consultant during the planning stage, and hopefully you will resume as the HR director. Now, there are so many options to win in the marketplace, especially for a service company like a bank. Do you want to be the market leader in terms of products and quality? You can be. You cannot just choose to be the market leader in terms of pricing. People will get loan from this bank at the cheapest possible rate and will respond quickly. You can also choose to lead the market in terms of your flexibility and to the way you respond to your customer. What do I mean? You will know every customer's need, you identify them specifically, and you will give them solutions that is tailored to each customer. There are banks globally. I mean, I remember my many days in those days in my bank in London. Around this time, October, November, you get emails. Borrow early to avoid rushing. Christmas is coming. All the patterns of this, there is nothing that the bank hasn't profiled. They just say, we know we have this solution. That's it. Now, there will be so few your customers and then is selling. You will go. You need to know who they are. When you know your customer, because there's that gap in your knowledge, but a credit that will, the market to lead with service, with tally number. When you go to banking hall, check leave, they give you we call it tally number. Then you come back in 2 hours.
Hello, sir. Hello, Isaac.
Yes.
In the last 2 minutes, the sound has been going on and off. I don't know, maybe it's the earpiece connection. Just the last 2 minutes, please.
Okay. Let me take my video. The bandwidth is being. Am I clearer now?
Okay, sir.
Okay. I'm asking you as an HR professional, creating a formula, and I was using the example of and the options that.
Sir, I think you should put back on the video. The situation is still the same. I don't think it's your bandwidth.
So what is my this is.
Can you try without the earpiece, sir? Let's see if it will make a difference.
Okay. It is really bad. Wow, this is
it comes in and comes out. It fades in and fades out. I don't know. Banji is on the call. If he's listening to, I think he can confirm what I'm saying. For example, I didn't hear the last sentence you just said.
this is sad.
Okay. Maybe you want to log off and
what
join back. Oh, okay. Don't do that. We're already at maximum capacity.
I know I won't be able to call.
You may not be able to come back.
Oh.
We're already at 100.
Anyway, how we will improve the taking my video off. So there are that you can choose. Quality of service, or you want to tailor your specific needs of the individual, the markets. Now, the challenge for you thing, resources, culture and values, and of course, drive. That is about strategy formulation. Executing strategy, dimension to strategy. And the central question, how do we make sure and have sufficient deliver the outcomes to which how okay have activities we deliver on the outcome. Okay, and this is how I live my life. That I use. Okay, my internet connection is just showing me now. I think the problem, it doesn't cut me off.
Okay, we found a way around this. So, sir, what I would suggest, sir,
yes,
is that you log out and then log back in. So what I've done, I have enabled waiting room. So we will have to let people in. So we'll wait for you to come back in first before we allow any other person. So let's see if that will work.
Okay.
Because the audio break is, and if by chance I have any other alternate internet, you may want to deploy it, sir.
Except I try my friends.
Especially if it's using a different network, is worth the wait. If you need to wait for like 2, 3, 4 minutes.
Okay.
Yes, sir.
Okay, it's raining.
Oh, it's raining at your end, sir.
Yeah.
Oh, now I see. Because I just wondered why suddenly, because it has been perfect and beautiful in the last 40 minutes.
Should I still go and come in?
Yes, let's try it. And
okay. All right.
Internet source, sir.
Okay. Now internet is still unstable. Managers assist. So, and I this simple question with strategy and implementation is, how do we make sure and plan how to deliver the outcomes to which? Can you hear me now?
It's better, but still the situation persists, but it's better. Let's
okay.
Yes, sir.
Question. How we use it? There are 4 columns. what are the, how do we measure, and then what kind of provide stretch and programs or activity, okay? Because there are some things you must do to get to the promised land. I'm going to take, I really like balance scorecards. And not, yeah, it is the most used to implement strategy. Because it takes us from the past, when we talk about strategy, it's about financial strictly from numbers. Place behind the number. That the companies have perfected that in terms of sales or profits. Robert Kaplan reports, and they try to measure the entire activity of it, and measuring the performance of it, introduce three perspectives. Just explain what the balance scorecard is. Keys and system. That is what we call the learning and growth. And efficiencies, but the internal processes that would the market. Who is the market? To eventually lead to the financial desire. So if we don't, we can't have good process, look good to our customers, numbers will not be right. Let us look at from 4 different, we have the right people, processes, and of course, and value exchange with your profits. Now, balance scorecard look. We start from the bottom. This is where play. How do you, the organizations, the information exchange, when you get this right, who are motivated and happy with their job, for you to have correct process, operation, manage customer, manage, and of course, managing process. It is good people. If you have good internal needs, you make on behalf of the company, commitment or speed or functionality, or the brand internal processes to those promises. And if you are happy, of course you have the people of a great company, which the financial return, stuff like that. So this how can you to implement just as I've outlined work? And I'm borrowing from the work of Becker. These are HR. They came up with this simple diagram in their library or in their drawer, great HR practices. So how do we translate those great HR practices in? And they try to that perspective, which is The competencies. As HR professional with the right competence, do the job, simple. And be a wrong team. The attitude, the level of ability to take initiative, and then, of course, emotional intelligence. You cannot be a good team player. You're going to be a nuisance. Go to have the right competencies and the right attitude. The next thing is the behavior, the role modeling that behave, whether they are all the objectives that, and the last dimension, are we getting results? Have a great strategy. If you are not, and how great can your strategy be? There's nothing great about it. Now, as a layman, this is my own in implementing. Let's start from the bottom again. Change and to improve. Change your company for better. The first thing is always the initiative. Is there a new scheme that will help people to embrace? So you can set up an all the key people are there. Or have initiative that supports your goal. What is goal? If you look at the second column there, process means attainment of what success really look like. Or critical and to do for those parts. Goal, then easily you achieve that will lead you to the goal. A company HR, there's a company on account of health. I said, okay, what can we do? A company, because this after we're always making the money and the service level, and they came to you. Okay, what can I do? If these people are just a 30 minutes walk, or attracting account of Qatar and those things, then that have Qatar, you can't have Qatar. So, consultant to the company, can we this competition among all the price will be a brand new, and that will be given in December. Participate and they have a fair chance. Physical education, special the branches, and every Friday will be dedicated to. Now, once you start who do not have mosquito nets, them. In fact, you can buy the free mosquito net, and that's fight you will not have malaria. Your blood pressure will go down. Arthritis will be pushed back. And then, of course, we will not have cold. Account of 2 or 3 items. People will become, will go down. And when you look at costs compared to you will have saved the company. The customers are having fun. Now, stop absenteeism. To stop absenteeism. What do I want to talk about? We also, this is job description we deliver in column 2. Job description. We now also need somebody's writing on my screen.
Agbo Comfort. Please, let's take out Agbo Comfort respectively. Thank you.
So a job is KPIs that are measurable. Find KPI that you can measure qualitative in a quantitative manner. Quantitatively, you can also, and of course, after the fact, but who are so focused on the future that are more indicative. What do I mean by indicative measure? We check the quality of raw material. The outcome will be good because the quality, measuring the quality of raw material relationship with the quality. That's a very good one so that you don't have rejection. Some other people will not measure the quality on the percentage error. It's already erroneous. You have already, as possible, let us find, give us an indication of the beautiful future. Not to be bad and be measuring a bad. Measuring after the fact is called lag measures, whereas a lead measure is, for example, if you want your staff to training, so measuring the number of that go for the training, the future will be. You can measuring misbehavior, but it is better that are telling you how the future will look rather than wait for the event to happen and be measuring. Now, this is the story that I have for you on the balance scorecard. Now, it seems I've done very quickly with the session. Now, I'm going to close with 3 statements. The first is that you need to be motivated for action. Now, just like I said before, the new year is coming and you are going to be writing New Year resolution. If you are not uncomfortable with the situation you are in, what is going to drive you into a better future? So you need to have an idea of how a beautiful future can be created by you. And you must accept that responsibility. God is not going to come from heaven to give you an idea of how your future should look. It's your baby to be concerned about where you are. And it's also your business to be concerned about a beautiful future that you can lead yourself or lead your company. So it is very important that you are driven, okay? That desirable future will help you. Those of us who are Christian or Muslim, we understand the concept of heaven or paradise. In paradise, there is no trouble or sorrow. This is what they teach me in my church. There's no stress, no blood pressure, everything is bliss. Because that place is such a beautiful place, all the conditions that they give me, I try to comply with it so that I can enjoy, I can transport myself when I finish with this space called arts. I can find myself in a joyous place. Now, because my pastor has described it in such a way that is beautiful, people look forward to it. In fact, we sing about it. Jerusalem on high, my song and city is my place for when I, oh happy place. This is how our religion has crafted heaven, and all the followers are struggling, making all the sacrifices so they can make heaven. As a business leader, it is your duty to craft such a beautiful future for your company and for staff, so that they can all look forward to be participants in a beautiful future. The second thing I want to leave with, when we are focusing on delivering beautiful results for our company, it is a beautiful thing to do. But don't forget, the focus on the day-to-day processes is much more better than the focus on the outcome. Why did I say this? Outcome is subject to a lot of variables that may be outside our control. For example, the central bank governor has just announced that he's going to change currency, new color, new note, new denomination. What can you and me do about that announcement? There's not much. It's to study it and see how we can comply and minimize the distractions or problems that the change can bring to our business. That change of currency can affect your business outcome that you planned, and you have no control over it. But waking up in the morning at 5 a.m., going for your exercises, eating, bathing, and getting to your office before 8 o'clock is completely within your control. If you are a salesman and you say, oh, every day I'm going to make 8 sales calls, that's within your control. Sleeping on time, eating before 7 p.m. is within your control. Now, all these tiny, tiny things are the processes that a typical manager has designed that will help him and his employee to deliver on the big outcome. Now, if you can focus on the daily activities and the daily routine or daily processes, your likelihood of achieving the bigger outcome is much, much higher. In fact, when you close and you get home in the evening, you will always be able to say to yourself that I have a beautiful day. It means you've done all the things you set out for yourself. Now, don't be like a drunkard who said yesterday was bad. Let us focus on the things we do, those habits, those routines we do every day, and make sure they are beautiful habits that will be very proud. And in the evening, we can say, I had a beautiful day. And the last but not the least is that it is people that implement strategy. Just like it is players that play football, it is people that implement it. No matter how beautiful your strategy has been formulated, without a good set of human beings, the strategy will not achieve the desired outcome. Thank you very much. I think it's now time for us to take questions and answers. Yes, sir.
I would like to ask for a favor, 2 or 3 favors.
All right.
First, because of what has been written, can you stop sharing and reshare again?
Okay, stop
If
sharing.
you don't mind, can you go over the last 3 slides? Suddenly, the network is beautiful. We can hear you. When you got to conclusion, we were hearing excellently well, so that we can take the last, I think, 3 slides, if you don't mind, sir. Thank you so much for your magnanimity. And for everyone who has waited patiently, thank you so much. I think from here it's okay. You know.
All right.
We appreciate you, sir. God bless you, sir.
Yeah, God bless you too. Now, this is balanced scorecard strategy map. And in interpreting and understanding it, we will start from the bottom. This is what Kaplan and Norton introduced to the world. Now they're saying, rather than measuring just the numbers based on the accountant's angle or perspective, let us find a way to measure the learning and growth perspective. This is where we see the quality of staff, their motivation, their innovation, and their capability. We want to measure that. And so we are measuring the quality of, there are so many parameters that you can use to measure how good and innovative. You can use and look at the number of new products that is coming out of your company, the quality of research, or you can go there and do survey and find out from the staff whether they're enjoying working in your company. Now, this is the learning and growth perspective. Now, if you have great staff, then it is possible for your company to have a great process. When we talk about great processes, we're talking about how you manage operation, how you manage customer, how you manage innovation, and how you manage your exchange with the regulatory and the social processes. Now, it is these internal processes that we have that help us to deliver the promises or the commitment we have made to our customers. Whether it's your commitment to price or commitment to speed, quality, functionalities, relationship, or your brand message, it is the processes in the company that help the marketing people to deliver on those commitments. And if you deliver on the commitment, of course, the customers are going to love you. Not only will they love you, they will patronize you, they will come back for repeat purchases, they will sell your company to their friends, and all the financial parameters that you are desiring, revenue, productivity, return on investment, these three perspectives at the bottom of finance is what help us to deliver on the financial perspective. And you will see the principles on the side. There's a cause and effect relationship between each of these perspectives. Because we have great people, we have a great process. Because we have a great process, we're able to deliver on our commitment. And because we are delivering on our commitment, we are having beautiful financial returns. So this is how these things are. Now, the next slide, which I earlier shared, was about the job that the HR scholars have done to bring balanced scorecard into strategy execution. And they use the body of processes and best practices that you have always had as HR professional. And then how do we use those body of processes to deliver on balanced scorecard? And they use 4 dimensions, which that's what I've been using to preach about how you intervene in achieving either strategy formulation or strategy implementation. The first is competencies. How do you assemble the skills and competencies that will deliver on the outcome? After that, you need a culture and mindset. When I talk about culture and mindset, this is a big topic. Now you look at the individual staff. Are they responsible people or people who blame others? Your individual that you recruit, can they communicate in an impeccable manner? Do they say what they mean? Do they do what they do? I mean, are they doing what they say they mean? So when your action is consistent with what you say and what you do, then you're a man or woman of integrity. And of course, you're also looking for people who have emotional intelligence. You're looking for staff who can think on their feet, critical thinking skill. So if you get the right people, then it's likely they can contribute as member of a good team. Now, and your team must also have those dynamics that makes a team to succeed. Now, the other one is the workforce leadership and behavior. What kind of role modeling do we have among the business leaders? Are they saying, do what I say, or they're saying, do what I do? Now, when you look at the organization, the actions and activities and the behavior they are putting forward will support the strategy. And of course, the last but not the least is the outcome. Are we being successful on the key KPI that we set for ourselves? And that's the job of personnel to do. We are the people that lead the process of performance management. Can you do performance management if you don't have a standard to benchmark those performance? No. So we need to, when we're doing performance management, we're going to check all these 4 things again. We're going to check the competencies of employees. We're going to check whether they are living the values and living the culture. And then we are checking the leadership and the general behavior, the one they project outside. And then we're checking those tangible, qualitative or quantitative results that the work that you have allocated should provide. Now, this is how we can, as HR professional, intervene. Now, I have this small map that I've used over the years. And then you have about 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 columns. Now, the first column is about perspectives. How do we look financially? How do we look marketing-wise? How do we look as far as processes? And the last one is learning and growth. Now, the second column asks you, what does success look like? If you are successful in terms of finance, what are the kind of numbers you should see? Profit percentage, growth in revenue, return on investment, These are the things that you use to determine, oh, I am successful, I am not successful. If you are doing well with your customers, you can measure how customers see the company, brand perspective, all sorts of, the marketing people have many ways of measuring quality of service, speed of service, value exchange, or you can also measure your processes, error rates, rejection rates, speed of delivery, optimization of working capital. Many ways you can measure your processes. And of course, you can also measure how you are doing as far as staff is concerned. Now, all those beautiful measures do not deliver themselves. Profit does not deliver itself. It takes some activity, initiatives, and programs to deliver profit. And those initiatives are what is on the fixed columns. When you look at your goal, ask yourself, do I have an initiative that will deliver the goal? Some initiative may just be training. Some initiative may be a physical exercise, like I've explained before. Some initiative may be, oh, why don't you let's introduce uniform for all staff from MD to the cleaner? There are companies that have done that just to make sure everybody looks alike. There are so many things that you can introduce for each of these perspectives that will help you to deliver your goals. Now, as HR professional, I've talked about performance management before. And when we do performance management, you want to be sure that you're not just managing, you're not just measuring a very narrow space. You're checking whether the person you are reviewing is fit, he has the capability. 2, is exercising the right culture that is supporting the goal of the company. And then the behavior that they're exhibiting is consistent with the desirable behavior. And of course, you are getting the results that you desire. How do you do that as HR professional? You profile the job and you come up with a great job description that matches the role that you want to put the person. Now, if the role is not sufficient, we also need to list KPI. Those KPI must be supporting the strategic objectives of the company. And then we measure it during the appraisal period. That's all. And that's all my story. And I concluded by asking you to mind 3 big things. You need an hunger for success. You must be chasing something. And that something must be beautiful and desirable, and it must be in future state. It is those things that you chase that you will eventually catch. If you have nothing beautiful you are looking out for, you will not catch anything beautiful. The second one is the focus on outcome. It's a very good thing. We'll focus on revenue, focus on profit. The truth is, outcome are subject to a lot of variables. Outcome for your company is subjected to exchange rate, is subjected to President Muhammadu Buhari's political pronouncement. It's subject to a lot of variables. However, I'm begging you, appealing to you to focus on the processes, your daily processes, your weekly processes, your monthly processes. Why am I recommending the daily processes to you? We have more control on our daily activities than on the outcome. You have control on setting your alarm to wake you up at a certain time of the day. You have control on getting out of your bed to go and do your exercise. You have control on the choice of food you eat. You have control on the number of sales contacts or connections you will make a day. Most of the things that we put on our agenda, if you check your KPI, you can turn those KPI to daily activities, weekly activities. Once you turn them to such a thing, then you have your strategy implementation in your hand. And if you follow those day-to-day routines, your likelihood of success is much brighter. And your likelihood of meeting the big outcome is also much higher. And that's the message. So focus on the long-term goal, on the outcome goal, but focus more on the processes goal. If you can understand this, my excellent friends will say, this will give you success beyond success. I gave an analogy before I move this slide backwards. The beer drinkers, when they wake up and they are recovering from the hangover in the morning, what do they say? Yesterday was bad. Now, if you focus on your processes, yesterday will always be good for you. In fact, by the time you get home in the evening and you check your jotter, you have ticked off everything you set out to do. Then, if every day is good for you, you will be pleasantly surprised with the results that you get at the end of the financial year. And of course, the last but not the least, remember that it is human beings that implement strategy. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much, sir.
You're welcome.
Magnanimity and for that insightful presentation. Of course, as usual, you cannot achieve strategy if you are not resilient. Things will come like the weather elements, but is it immediately you go about and say, let's reschedule and let's adjourn? Not all opportunities can be rescheduled or adjourned. If you can weather the storm, you will get some of the ideas and results out. At this point, which is also a very critical point, we would like to open the floor for questions. If you want to ask a question with respect to this subject matter, please quickly raise your hands and we will permit you. Hopefully it's not raining in your own side and your own network is good. All right. You can also type your questions. Okay, I think I can see a hand up already. Please, if you have questions, quickly raise up your hands now so that we can have a sense how many questions we are dealing with. Akorede Daniel, you have been granted access to speak. You may need to unmute. Hello, Akorede Daniel.
Well, he may not have the power to unmute, so maybe you help him.
He has been granted access to unmute. He has been enabled. My Dr. Adetutu, let me try and fish Dr. Adetutu out so that we can enable her unmute too. You can also type your questions. Let me see, okay. Dr. Adetutu, try and unmute now. You have been granted access.
I appreciate. So thank you very much, sir, for this educative session. It's really brilliant. I really appreciate it. I wanted to ask, in terms of this strategic implementation, with my small working years of experience, I noticed that when it comes to the management, let me now say top management now, and then the CEO, to be precise, has some kind of people he's working with, let me put in quotes, his own kind of strategic team. Now, they sat down, they've already cooked those strategies, and you are not even aware of the origin. You were not probably invited for those kind of meetings. And how do you execute those kind of, what would you advise in case of those type of strategies that you did not even have the opportunity to contribute and the likes? How do you help them execute this strategy?
Okay. Thank you for, this is a very nice question, and I'm expecting it. When there's a big dichotomy between the top and the bottom. So the first thing I'm going to beg you to do is to get a copy of the strategy, understand it, think about it, and see how you can assist them, and for along those 4 dimensions. If they don't share the strategic intent with you, how can you help? So they need to let you know where the company is going, and then you can now go into your own small cocoon, think through it. What are the competencies that can attract for them? What kind of culture will support it? And what type of processes and behavior? And of course, what should be the outcome? Because you now need to cascade. Once they finish those strategy, you need to break it down to roles for the lower people. For example, if customer service is the imperative for the year that the company wants to use to drive their growth, that customer service needs to be cascaded from the cleaner, the gate man, everybody needs to be part of that service orientation. That you can help them when you are crafting the job description and the KPI for the year. You look at the 4 or 5 core mandate of the strategy and connect it with everybody. I mean, you see some banks, when you go in and those guys in white dress, they greet you. you're welcome to XYZ Bank. They have their HR or the HR manager has managed to create such a simple statement, greeting. When you are going, they greet you. When you're coming in, they greet you. That's how those security guards connect with the corporate strategy. The toilets, what will be your experience if you go to the toilet and the flies grab you? No matter how beautiful the bank is, it is the toilet you remember. So you need to, what we call it, cascading. When you list all the 7 or 8 issues that the company is driving, some issues will not relate to some department, some issues relate to some department. Your job is to find how every staff can connect, how they can find meaning in the job they do every day to the overall success of the company. It's a tough thing, but it can be done. If you go through the strategy and you analyze it, you will find how each role can fit into the global strategy. I hope I tried.
Okay, thank you so much. I'm back. Network took me out too. What comes around goes around. So
Wow,
I have one question. When you say someone is not strategic, literally, what is management referring to? When so this my HR is not strategic at all.
Okay, that's exactly what we have been talking about today. You understand?
Yeah.
A lot of HR are comfortable with routines, or administering pension fund, salary. You know, there are so many clerical administrative jobs we do. And don't get lost in that. They are good jobs. But you see, there is no company that just wants routines. Look at the song I sang during the session. Do something new in my life, something new in my life, something new in my life. Today, an HR manager must do something new in the life of the company. Then that person is strategic. If you forget yourself and you get lost in routine, then what is the new thing you've done in paying salaries, in managing attendance? No, find some hours in a week to do nothing, but just to reflect. How can I improve something in this company? How can I make staff better? How can I improve the skill? How can I connect all the staff with the future of the company? That is being strategic, being refreshing. That's all. Look at the top 4 things that is driving the business. Find a way to connect the entire company and the personnel function with those top things. It's not something you do every day. It's a process that requires you to go inside the helicopter, fly off, and start looking at what is happening on the ground floor. You will see things that you will never be able to see that routines don't allow you to do. It's like the way, even an MD, you are signing check every day, you are approving this. That's routine. You need a time in the month where you can reflect on what has happened during the month. What did we do well? What did we not do well? That's when the MD is strategic. So an HR is not different from an MD. You must find that time when you can climb up and look at, in fact, the time you are writing your monthly report is also a beautiful time for reflection. You are compiling all data, who left, who didn't go, what did we do well? And if you do anything well, it's a time for you to reinforce it. There are sparks of genius and excellence all over the company. When you pick such, you quickly go and interrogate it and write a small report. And then you now say, everybody in the company, we see somebody in Port Harcourt that did just a great thing. We are recommending everybody company-wide to copy a beautiful practice. That is being strategic. If you see some behavior that is wasting money, I closed on Friday, I saw light in the training room. So I told my driver, oh, hold on. Maybe people are doing training. I went there, there's nobody there. 4 air conditioning is on at 7 p.m. Now, the same staff will complain that his salary has not been paid. He has forgotten the price of NEPA. That all these things have gone up. Why will you not optimize the resource of your company? And you want to make progress in the same company. So, but those are routines, stepping out from your everyday job, dedicating some hours once a month or once a week to reflect on how can you bring improvement? How can you improve productivity? How can I make the life of staff better? How can I improve the profit of this company? That is being strategic. Thank you.
Thank you so much, sir. Before we take Emmanuel, there are 1 or 2 questions here, but I would like you to share with us, sir, over the course of your career, even prior to when you became MD and while you were MD and afterwards, can you share with us some HR strategies that you feel are fascinating or interesting? A few with us. Perhaps it can spark creativity in some of the members listening to you this evening, sir.
Well, you can see I'm not a very serious person. In terms of, life is beautiful. It is human being that just complicate life. Now, for me, I go with a very simple HR process. Do unto others as you want others to do unto you. No matter how big the processes and procedures are, I always ask myself, will I like this procedure to be applied to me? If I don't like it, I will stand out and start bringing the change. I've seen a lot of people who don't like things that are happening in their company and they do nothing about it. For me, you need to take the responsibility for the future that you want to see. Sometimes it can cost you your job. Sometimes they can give you a name. But if the company is not moving in the right direction, what will be the end of your career? Rubbish career. So you're better off leaving a stupid company, pay all the sacrifices you need to pay. People will come and find you. Among the crooks, they know the most honorable. So you have to ask, who do you want to be? The king of crime or the decent human being? So you have to choose. Like Joseph, what's the name of this, our great guy in the Bible? As for me and my family, the Lord will serve. So, not David, one of the guys that took over from...
That's Joshua.
Joshua, God bless you. So as a professional, who do you want to be? Do you want to be the most wicked or the best? That's one. The second thing really, and I've talked about initiative now. I remember when we were sold shares in the company that I used to work for. It took me and another gentleman to go and meet the MD that we want to buy shares in our company now that you are trying to raise money. He said, you people don't have money and I'm not going to give you loan. He said, we know, but you have taken your housing advance. This man has taken his own admin advance. I know the company is broke. We want our own admin advance. Even if you don't have the cash, give us, we will give it back to the company immediately. This is how those of us who indicated became shareholders. And that's how I got my first 70,000 shares in my old company. I won't mention their name. Later, when opportunity came, I increased the number of. Now, do you want employees to behave like shareholders? If you do, make them shareholders. Because all these big men say, why can't you behave like an owner? If you want me to behave like an owner, turn me to an owner. It's a very simple philosophy. Owners, if you sell one unit to a staff, his self-esteem changes. His behavior to the company will change. He knows that one day when he's leaving and this company is quoted on the stock exchange, there is something that is coming for him. Now, these are lessons that Nigerians need to learn from America. All the people that were shareholders in Amazon or Steve Jobs, Apple or Microsoft, look at all of them are billionaires. And these are bonuses that the company gave them. 20 years down the line, they don't have to work again in their lives. And if you also come to Nigeria, the initial employees of GT Bank or Stanbic IBTC who were giving shares that time, those shares have grown in value. Now, are you running a company that will survive you? Or you are running a chieftaincy, a kingdom? If we need to start asking ourselves questions around sustainability. Now, for me, I take life easy. Every rule, concerning how we manage staff can be challenged. Every rule can be improved. You remember when you were with me and I said, why should everybody close at 5 p.m.? Why should everybody resume at 8 o'clock? Why don't you challenge? Some people, you don't need them at 5. Some you don't even need at 8. Let them resume at 7 o'clock and close at 3. When the go-slow start at 3:30, anybody that closes at 3 will get home on time. If you get to your office at 7:30, you will not meet all the nonsensical traffic in Lagos. These are things we must challenge. Why should people put on tie? Everybody from the company. Who introduced it? One Oyinbo man who lived in England in a very cold country came to Nigeria and said we should wear tie. Yet our traditional dresses, when I wear it in Kenya or in South Africa, everybody wants to take picture with me. Can't we create orders? I mean, if everybody wear kaftan and is uniform, same color, aren't we going to look beautiful all around the company? Not only are we entrenching our value and our heritage, we're also providing employment for Nigerian tailors. Why should we be providing employment for people in Thailand or India? Now, all these things we must challenge. Look at Indians. When they have a big event, do you see their prime minister wearing somebody else's dress? No. They showcase India. No wonder they're taking over the world. When are we as Nigerians going to embrace the thing we inherited from our parents and showcase it to the rest of the world? Now, challenge everything. Think about it. I mean, there's something I just did in this company I'm working for now. I never knew. I just saw that one day, oh, all of them receive housing allowance monthly. But which landlord in Lagos collects rent monthly? So why are we pretending as HR practitioners that we don't know what's going on in the market? So, gentlemen, we are going to pay housing allowance once a year. Oh, the owner said we don't have the money. I said, I know you don't have money. We are going to give the money on the bad day of our staff. So you just see that the cash flow is the same thing. The company is not doing anybody any favor. When you do it on their bad day, it will still amount to the same thing. But people can now improve their lives. They can pay their rent. Those who have bought land can say, I want to roof my house. Now, these are initiatives that we can bring to bear to our workplace. Now, if you ask my colleagues in Resta, we've done about 4 estates. I supported the establishment of the cooperative fund. I joined. It became our bank. By the time I left, the asset of the cooperative was well over 700 million. The company even started borrowing from the cooperative. And we developed, yes, we had estates in not too far from the Mountain of Fire. We had in Magboro. We had estates in Ajahia. We had estates in Ikorodu. Almost everybody, even a courier could afford an estate. So this is all the things we need just to think about it. How can we improve the life of our people? You know, when I used to be the lead facilitator for personal financial planning in Resta. If the staff are not on top of their finances, how can they support the company? A man or a woman who is permanently broke, is that a good staff? Meanwhile, all they need is some tiny, tiny skills to turn them from being poor to become financially prudent. There is nobody that God made mistake in creation. It is skills that we don't have. So when you expose them to this skill of financial success, you will be surprised everybody in the company start doing well. So when you start sacking your staff, I mean, how did I realize that I need to teach financial success? I sacked a lady, we investigated, he said he stole 5,000 naira. Another day I sacked another guy, he stole 2,000 naira. At that time I asked myself, who is losing? Is it the man I fired or me, the MD? There must be something wrong with me to make my staff to be stealing 5,000 naira. So when we investigated and we checked it, we found out they don't have self-esteem. They don't have self-respect. So what do we do to raise the profile of our staff? So we struggled and we created this cooperative. A man or woman that has saved 100,000 naira can never steal 5,000. They became big people. And if you have savings, we need to teach you what to do with great savings. So this is how people's life change, profile change. They can no longer they will never desecrate themselves to steal stupid money. Now, we can go on and on and on and on like that. Anything you see that's going wrong in your company, the company has a fault, the staff has a fault. If you see yourself, you see a trend, people are resigning, they are resigning. Who do you think they are resigning from? They are resigning from bad company. They don't see any great future with you. If they see a good future, it's no longer about money. Salary can't keep them. It is treatment and the fact that they are respected, their voices are important, they will stay with you. All right, let me stop there.
Thank you so much, sir.
Thank you.
It's like we are going to bring you back on this personal financial planning. You should do a master class on this very soon. Let me call Emmanuel. If you have any question by now, you should have questions, especially based on some of the insights our facilitator has shared with us in the last 10 minutes. Emmanuel, you have the floor, please.
All right. Thank you very much, sir, for the insightful presentation. And thank you to my senior colleague, Oliyemi, for the platform. Okay. All right. So my question is, so you're a HR director, and they just started inviting you for top strategy formulation meetings. Now, when you go for those meetings, you wouldn't just want to be a passive person. You would want to contribute to the table. In fact, you want to even get to an extent that if you don't come for strategy formulation sections, they will look for you. So how do you start? How do you end that table? How do you really perform? Yes.
Okay. All right.
Thank you.
Yeah, thank you for this question. When you become an HR director, you have become a different person. You have become a business leader. You have become an officer of the company. Your days as managing payroll, doing just recruitment, yes, you will still do them, but believe me, nobody will ask you to come and recruit a clerk again. We are going to ask you to recruit the leaders of the company, people that can bring new bearing and perspective to the growth of the enterprise. That's who you now are. You are now going to be responsible for profit. You are going to be responsible for costs. You are going to be responsible for the image of the company. You are going to be responsible for culture. You are going to be responsible for overall success. Now, if they are going to give you any bonus, the days of writing KPI as a personnel person is over. When you look at your bonus parameter, you will see revenue, you will see profit, you will see cost, you will see credit control. Those things that you have never seen before as a performance appraiser measures, they are now going to impose them upon you. Now, so what do? First, go and read about the industry. Understand the industry where you are playing. What are the key success factors for that industry? Who are the other players? I mean, the competition. What do they have that you don't have? What are their practices that make them successful that you don't have? Now, if you can't find in Nigeria, find a similar company in the United States. Look at great companies that you say this is the best place to work for. Check all those companies that are the top 5 on Forbes 500, the great place to work for. What do they do? How can you turn those things and create a Nigerian edition of the initiative that the great places to work for have? These are the small things that I think will hand you your place. You must understand the critical success factors. If there are 7 things, list them and ask yourself, what will be your role to deliver this success factor? And then you will just see that, in fact, you'll be surprised. Everybody will be pleasantly surprised. They will ask you, have you been an HR director before now? So just go study the industry. There are open source material you can find about your industry. And there are, if you look at the financial statements of other players in your space, read the interviews of MDs of other companies that are competing with you, you will see strategy. You will see a lot of things. Everybody, look at the session we're having today. These are the things you need to do. So I wish you good luck as you are aspiring to become HR director. And nobody gets to become HR director based on their former experience. The first time you arrive there, usually is the first time you are HR director. When I was made MD, it was the first time I became MD. The attitude is the buck stops on your table. Whatever problem that comes to your table must be resolved on your table. You see that your brain will open up and the solution will start coming. And don't forget to be a permanent student. Thank you.
Wow, 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 wow. Don't forget to be a permanent student. The buck stops on your table. Listen to interviews of leaders in competition. Check Forbes 500. Check for companies globally who are doing well so that you can Nigerianize. I like that. Don't copy and paste. Look at it. Get in parallels you can do. It is beautiful presentation so far. Olushola, please, you can ask your question now. I'm begging you now. If you will see Mr. Orolubagbe later, even if you go through me, you will pay through your nose. I promise you that. The best way is now.
Thank you.
Olushola, please go ahead.
All right, thank you. Good evening, sir. Good evening, everyone on the call. Thank you so much for this opportunity. But thank God I stayed true. Even when the network was frustrating, I just decided that no, I won't leave. I know the network will get better. Thank you so much, sir. So my question is, for a company that they're just starting up, barely 1 or 2 years, and their employees, they are not up to 10. With the marketers, they are not, roughly between 7 and 8. So I want to know, sir, is all these deductions, like the housing allowance, and most of them are paid peanuts as salary because there is a commission on each sales. So I want to know, so all these deduction
How do I?
inculcate. What do you say, sir?
I didn't get your question. People are
Yes,
earning
I said
peanuts.
yes, they are
Yeah.
having peanuts, and then I want to know all these deductions like housing allowance, pension, transportation allowance. Can I inculcate it as an HR personnel of the company? Is it possible? Is it visible? Because the person that earn most is earning just 40,000. So I want to know, sir, is it realistic to inculcate all these housing allowance, transportation allowance in the? Thank you,
Shola,
sir.
I'm going to ask you a lot of questions. Why should people be earning peanuts in your company? Your business model is not good. You are spreading poverty. No company has any business spreading poverty. Now, we need to investigate why they are earning peanuts. You need to empower them to earn real money. Is it that they are not well trained? If they are not well trained, let us organize selling skills training for them. Or did we recruit wrongly so that in future we don't touch bad people? Well, we need to first of all check ourselves to make sure that people will earn good money. If you pay people peanuts, they are going to behave like monkeys. You will not be successful as a company because they will not be happy to move again. Now, people need to be excited about the work they are doing. So let's first of all sit down and ask ourselves, how can we make these people great salespeople? It is possible. There are basic selling skills, consultative selling skills training. I know people who deliver those kind of training. And then when people qualified and pass the training, they can sell anything. Now, maybe your product is also not good. Nobody can sell bullshit to the market. They can buy it the first time. After they buy it, they will tell every other person that this thing is bullshit. So you need to be sure you have a great product. And I don't believe that your company is selling a bad product. Maybe your processes aren't right. Your sales process, your compensation scheme is not good enough. So, and the sales process, when I talk about sales process, how many customers do you expect these people to meet in a day? What is the average sales per transaction? If they are selling 2,000 per day, per transaction, and they do 10 calls, they will only sell 20,000 a day. What percentage, what can be your gross margin out of 20,000 from 10 people? It's nothing. You cannot build a great company from such poor sales performance. So the next challenge will be, how do I move their average sales from 2,000 to 40,000? And if they do 10 in a day, then you're talking about 400,000 sales per day. Not only will they be successful, your company will just blow. Bam! Now, how many calls are they able to make a day? Maybe 4. Because it's raining, they can't go. So, do you think they need a car to be successful in this business? If they do, you have to arrange to get them a car. If they don't have a car, you are going to be grumbling forever that they are not meeting targets. So there are many things. If you talk to a seasoned sales manager or sales director, they look at your process and give you advice on how you can make your staff and your company extremely successful. Now, the other challenge will be, are they your staff or they are consultants or contractors? Are they happy to be independent salespeople? If they are happy with their situation, you don't need to put them in your payroll. They can remain consultant, earning their fat, commission. They're not interested in your routine. But if you want to have a mix of fixed pay plus bonuses, that's also possible. So if you have a fixed pay, then you become an employer, and all the rules of a typical employer, you will practice it. They pay tax, they pay this, they pay that. But if they are independent consultant, the worst you can take out of them is withholding tax. And they will manage their life, they manage their pension, they will manage their healthcare. So really, it's up to the company, the system you want to operate. But most importantly, the way you said they are not earning much, we need to go back to the fundamentals. How can they earn much? That is your duty. Because they will be resigning, they will japa. You will have 10 today, next time 5 is gone. They will permanently be carrying CV in their bag. Because they have colleagues that are working in very nice places and they meet them on the street. They will not be happy until they find their own source of happiness. So you should be that source of happiness. Restructure your company to be a company that people want to stay with for 25 years. Thank you.
Thank you so much. You just, you provided a very clear assignment for HR practitioners, especially going to 2023. Our job is, how do we ensure our employees earn more? So our job is not to say, oh, the company doesn't have money or the company cannot afford to pay more. Our job is, how can we ensure our employees earn more? That is a $1 million question. We'll take Omotola Adano now and then go over to Adebimpe Abayomi. If you have interest in asking a question, please raise up your hand. We will end this session latest by 9 p.m. Omotola, please, your thought-provoking question, please.
All right. Good evening, sir. Good evening, everyone. I really appreciate this session. It's a very insightful one. I really appreciate you, sir. Thank you, sir. So my questions go like this. I just joined a company and I'm barely a month there. And the question I'm asking myself is, what am I doing here? Am I sure I'm in the right place? Because the employees, we have a head of HR. Then I joined as the employee 2 additional HR. So we are 2 new HRs and things are not going on well. And a lot of staff, they were expecting like, oh, since we have new HR now, things will change. They were expecting a lot. But by the time we suggest something, it's just kind of still at the table of the head of HR and they say, no, you guys listen, you have to listen to me, you have to do whatever I ask you to do. And so we can't really do much. We after training, they'll say, okay, there's no time for training. Okay, let's do this. Let's set KPIs, let's do performance appraiser. They always give excuse, there's no time. And at times I'm getting tired and even the other HR too doesn't come early, comes late. It's a lot of things. So I don't know, what do you advise in this kind of scenario?
This is your life. And you have to take responsibility for your life. One, you are in the company right now. That's another talent you have. Your talent is that you are employed in that company. So what are you doing with your talent? You need to stand up and do something about the company. There's an MD, okay? And when you make suggestions to the head of HR, maybe if you have been doing it, then that's good. You have to send memo. If you believe strongly in the suggestion you are making, send a memo, properly crafted memo, stating pros and cons, benefits that the company can get from your initiative, blah, blah, blah. Send it to him in writing. I bet you he cannot reply you and say, no, we are not doing it. Because now you have an evidence against him. Right now, you are talking, you cannot build up you have not articulated anything against him. Now, when you do a memo that is beautiful, that can take the company forward, don't forget to look at the costing. Do it as a professional proposer. What are you proposing? What are the benefits of the proposal? What will be the cost implication? And then you match the benefit against the cost. What are the processes? Who are the people that will drive it? Assume you are the MD. And write such a powerful, nicely crafted, look for a senior like Yemi to help you to review it, and then send it to the big man. I have never seen a big man that will reply such a proposal and say, I will not look at it. I've never seen that. You will suddenly get him to sit down and think. Well, he may repeat the same observation that you have had. And let's say he now said, I don't like this proposal. You can say, Oga, reconsider it, I've seen it, I've seen it here. The third time, you just write to the MD straight away. If you stay in a bad company, you have no future. But if you stay in that company and try to change the future, you have a future. So there is nothing you can lose. Alternatively, calculate when the MD is about to go out, meet him on the staircase. You know what we call the elevator pitch? Within 1 minute, hey, MD, I've been trying to see you. My name is so and so, I'm the new HR. There's something I want to talk to you that I think can change the fortune of this company for good. Can you give me 10 minutes of your time, sometime next week, to come and see you when I will present my proposal? Look, you can become the head of HR like that. Otherwise, they create your own department for you where you'll be suggesting great things and you become the strategy manager. So it's your life. It's in your hand. You got to do something about how you will project yourself into a better future. Nobody is coming to change things for you. You are going to change it for yourself. And this job you have is a talent. It's an opportunity. Use it well. Don't run away. If you must run away, do something before you run away. Because you are going to meet all these bad people anywhere you go again. So you need a skill of navigating yourself away from funny people. So do something before you go. And you'll be pleasantly surprised. It won't cost you your job. As long as you are not rude, you are very gentle. Do not let any noise cover your message. Stick to your message, maintain good emotional control all the time. And you'll be surprised that that boss may change. In fact, sometimes, you know what I used to do when I was a more junior, when I write proposal to my MD on changes, I don't write my name. I write the name of my MD at the bottom. I say, MD, will you look at this thing? And it's going to come out as a proposal from the chief executive, not me. I'm not trying to shine. I just want the company to be successful. And when opportunity came for me to become MD, I was too prepared because I've always been busy looking after the company and my boss. So I fell into the role easily. So maybe this is an opportunity for you to get to become the chief executive. So good luck.
Thank you so much. Don't play the victim. Don't play the victim card. You are a solution. Make opportunities available. Adebimpe Abayomi, last question for today. And if you have any question, comments from some of our leaders in the house, you can take some comments. Adebimpe,
good evening, sir. Good evening, sir.
Good evening, my brother.
Can you hear me? Thanks for this wonderful presentation, sir.
Thank you.
Sir, I have opportunity to work with the multinational companies and our local company. There's a difference between the two companies. Most times, the multinational companies have a clear company strategies and organization structures. Yeah. Our local companies are just there for profit making. And if you're an HR in that kind of organization, you will be working up and down. They will frustrate. They will frustrate your good motive. Without training, you cannot develop your personnel. Without good mindsets, the company cannot move forward. Most of our employees, our directors, our owners of companies in Nigeria of today, they are not looking at personal development. All what they are looking at, they set up a company, they just want to make a profit. You can imagine it. My sister just shared that somebody's collecting 40,000 naira in a month. How do you want that person to grow? How do you want that person to have a mindset to develop that company? It is very difficult. I'm not an HR person. I'm working as a facility manager. In my company here in Calabar, we have a headquarters in Lagos. If you post for a training, Lagos will say there's no money. If you ask them that you need something for development, without training, without giving people exposures, let them see the way it runs in another place that make it work. They will not understand. They will be telling you it is not possible. But have a mindset that it's possible. There's nothing is not possible. But because they are not trained, because they have not seen it in another place that it can work, nobody has ever implant these things in their mindset so that they can see that it can work. So we are in a very serious problems in our Nigeria of today as an HR person. There's a link, the link between the HR and the co-workers have been break down. Most companies, there's no better communications even to the HR. The HR is working in one direction, the management is working in another directions. And if the HR is presenting a positive idea, they don't see it as somebody that has, they will say, just leave that one aside. We are not going to that direction for now. This is the target. This is what we want. Sir, like you have said, but how long can we be resigning and go to another place in Nigeria of today? And a owner of a company will say that if you resign, I will employ another person. And millions of Nigerians are outside, are looking for jobs. So how do you want us to balance this situation? Thank you, sir.
Thank you. Now you have gone into Nigeria problem. And I don't think 2 hours will be sufficient to deal with our environmental issues. But I'm also happy that you say you have worked in multinationals. And some of these multinationals have been in existence for 100 years. If your boss wants his business to keep going and growing, you have to start behaving like people who have been there. What I tell people when I teach big men like directors, corporate governance, I say, look, prepare the bride. Companies like Nestle and a lot of Nigerian companies that are the multinational, you see the bank MDs are calling them to come and borrow money. Meanwhile, the local Nigerian company is the one begging bank chairman or branch manager to borrow. Do you want to be the bride that the banks are chasing, or you want to be chasing the bank? It's up to you, really. So if the owners want sustainability for their company to grow and be as big as Shell or Mobil or Chevron, all these shares were one-man enterprises before they became big company. So you need to tell them the story of how some companies have become great through great behaviors. Nike, because I see if you wear Nike shirts, that was a company that was started with $1,000. And that is the largest apparel company in the world today. So what kind of dreams do they have for the future of their enterprise? The future starts today. We need to start recruiting people that can take the company to the future. But since we have talked about Nigeria, a lot of companies are really not companies. They are just set up to steal money from some government agency and all that. They just collect contract and share money. Those are not businesses. Those are institutions set up for fraud, and they have no future. If that is what the company you are working for is like, excuse yourself, go and meet a company that is providing solution for a customer, that is making their own customers happy. Those are only the company that will survive into the future. Now, Nigerian companies love profit. They make a lot of money. Why? Because there is no competition in Nigeria. When you go to the supermarket to buy toothpaste, you cannot see more than 2 or 3 varieties of super toothpaste. So the people making toothpaste, they don't even know that they have no competition. They just have structures, and they are allocating their product. Distributors pay off competition. Companies like Nigerian Breweries, so many great companies in this country, distributors pay and beg before they get the product. That's not competition. If you want to buy toothpaste in London, you enter a supermarket, you are going to see over 200 different brands of toothpaste. All of them are dancing to get your attention. These kind of people cannot compete in that market. They will die, boom. Now, we've seen corporations die like that in Nigeria. When good players come, they wipe off the useless players. Nitel was one of the greatest companies in Nigeria that used to insult Nigeria. You have to pay online on this route are busy, please call back later. If you want to repair your 10 handsets, you have to go and carry them, buy a ladder, all sorts of nonsense. When good people came to do the service, what happened to Nitel? They just vanished. And I can give you an example of a lot of companies that appear very big and successful that the market has moved away from. So those people those who are treating staff shabbily are not running sustainable businesses. Unfortunately, there's poverty in the land. So people take all sorts of bullshit and stick an abusive employer. You can't become anything meaningful in a company where you are being abused. So keep your eye to the ground, look for another job, even if it's not in a rush, because you have children and all that. Your own job is waiting for you. Don't give up on yourself. If you cannot find a job, go for training. Set up your own company eventually. Even if you're starting with 20,000, start your own. You will build your own multinational someday. And it's a journey of 1,000 kilometers, like Chinese say. It starts with one step. All those bad behavior that your boss is doing today, when you become a big man, make sure you don't ever do it. A lot of people complain now, when they are promoted, they continue the bad practice. They just want to be the beneficiary of a bad practice. They don't want to be the victim. No, don't be like that. As HOD or as a facility manager, all the dreams you have about an excellent facility manager, put it into what you are doing. And eventually you will see the results. You cannot work for me as a bad manager and hope that when you start your own company, you'll be good. No, you will still remain bad. If you are good for me, when you start your own, you'll be good for yourself. So don't follow bad behavior. You say if you cannot beat them, no, join them. Don't ever join them. Be the man of integrity, a distinct employee in your company. Assume you are the owner and put forward the best behavior. God is watching you. Your colleagues are watching you. Your customers are watching you. They will create opportunity for you. Thank you.
Thank you so much. At this juncture, we'll be glad if you have any closing remarks so that we can wrap up this beautiful session. Thank you so much, sir.
Well, what remark can I give to congratulate all of you for putting together this kind of scheme? When I was growing up, there is no internet. So we don't have opportunity to network the way you are networking. And everybody should take advantage of it. Continue to exchange ideas among yourself. Continue to push, deliver, keep improving. And I tell you, if you do good, good will follow you. Whether you're an employee or boss or whatever it is, the goodness and the actions you take today. I have never applied to be an MD in my life. They always come to me. And they know I'm a very difficult man. I will not take nonsense, but they still keep coming. So because I've decided who I'm going to be. So if you don't want anybody to steal your money and do that, then you come to me. If you are looking for a fellow chief, you know the people to go to. So and if you live your life so simply, our needs are so small. Your small salary can go very far. Don't impress anybody. Impress God. Impress your conscience. And everything will be in order. Because if you live a simple life, you are not going to have overhead. If you don't have overhead, when you are jobless, nobody will know because your cost of surviving is very small. So, and the time will come that you'll be challenged with bigger responsibility. It will always come your way. Just do what is correct and your time. When I became MD the first time, it was a driver in the company that told the chairman, look at that guy that resigned. I think he's the person that will take us to the future. They asked 2 or 3 people, it was confirmed. So this is how, where I am now, the guy came to my house about 6 times, almost frustrating for me to come and be. So it's up to, we can live our life in such a way that will be the bride, that the bankers, the customer, good staff will come to. And with time, I'm sure when I meet you in 5 or 10 years' time, you will confirm to me that you are now extremely successful. And some of the messages and the lessons we take at this forum has catapulted you to become the man that you, a woman that you want to be. Thank you.
This is so insightful. You've never applied to be an MD, and yet you have done MD like 4 or 5 times.
Yep.
I thought I knew you. You never told me, sir, that it was a driver that recommended you as MD for the first time.
That's how it is.
I need to do it again.
So, you know all these small people.
Wow.
Look, how do you know a great man? You know a great man, the way they relate with small people who cannot do anything for them. If you can respect your cook, your stewards, your house help, You can never disrespect anybody. Do you know the plan of God for all those small people? You don't know. So why are you looking down on them? Why? Some of these cooks will become governors, wives to governors. They will change your life. If you are kind to them, when they get to their own kingdom, they will be kind to you. So that's how it is.
Beautiful. Rita Babalola, you have the floor. Hello, Rita.
Good evening, everyone. Good evening, Mr. Wole. Thanks for the opportunity. And I want to say thank you to Mr. Isaac. I learned a lot. In fact, I didn't even know he was Bank MD. I came into the conversation and I was like, wow, who is this person talking? I need to sit with this person. And I really want to thank you for your insight. You know, knowledge, when you see someone that has something to give, it's always there. You recognize it in the personality, the level of confidence, and the way you speak. So thank you so much. So going back to some of the things that you have said and some of the questions that people have raised, I just have one or two things. I mean, I have three things I've highlighted here. Number one, I'm an entrepreneur and I know how hard it is in Nigeria right now. It is really, really tough. In the life of a business life cycle, we know there are different stages. And for most companies in Nigeria right now, we're struggling. Business life cycles of most of those people that are HR professionals, you have people that are working in organizations that are less than 5 years. And you know, sir, that with 5 years, you're barely struggling to make ends meet. You're still struggling with market acceptability, brand awareness, product acceptability, and even market share. So are the things that entrepreneurs contend with in the first 5 years. So if you're talking about high salary packages, it will be very tough for those businesses. But I'm not talking about those ones that have spent 10 years or 7 years. But in this same Nigeria, you will even find some HR professional trying to save costs. I had a meeting yesterday, and there was a Chinese company coming to Nigeria. Mr. Wole, I'd reach out to you because I needed to do this negotiation concerning the outsourcing document. And then I was in the meeting. I had top HR professional asking about graduates to be paid 35,000. And I said, I was honestly, and then they were telling me that, oh, it is, some companies have accepted it. They've even have like 300. And I'm like, oh, I had to ask the HR personnel. I said, are you kidding me? A graduate to earn 35. And with all sense of no decency, they told me yes. They started with some firm. And I said, no, that the only person I can even say I want to do 35 or 40 will be an SSC school or school leaver. That I cannot see my organization outsourcing or placing some. But believe you me, you know, some graduates will be desperate to take that job. So I think it also bemoans on every one of us as an individual, whether as an HR practitioner, whether as an employee, have a personal value for yourself. Know what you can accept, know what you cannot take. Like what Mr. Isaac said just now. Know that these expenses, you are the only one that recognizes your expenses. Don't accept a pay. Improve on yourself. Add value to what you know in your knowledge base. Increase it so that you can put more value on it. Don't just take anything. This is 35,000 naira, and they are talking about graduates accepting it. Then on the part of salary negotiation, and I want to buttress what he said. When I get asked this thing, I said, there's no entrepreneur that have set up a business and want the business to fail. If I get a position paper and you can justify why I must increase the salary, then also be kind enough to tell me how to increase revenue. In what area? Don't go as an HR person and just say you want them to increase salary. Know when to go and meet the management or the chief executive to talk about salary. Know when the chiefs are down and don't go there and go and say you want to increase salary. What else is being added to the table? As an HR professional, this is the time we use business, a business partner, HR business partner. Get involved in finance, get involved in operations, add value to the organization. And then you can tell them that, oh, I think we can reduce costs from this element and add it to salary so that the salary can go up. We can jettison this, like, oh, we can, just like what is said, you can resume 7:30, we can close by 4 o'clock, justify so many things, brings the different scenarios. And believe you me, the CEO will listen to you. Then on the last person that complained about training, sometimes you just need to invest in yourself. It's a two-way thing. Learning is a continuum. Have for yourself a yearly budget, a certain percentage of your salary devote to increasing your knowledge base. And you have this online right now, free online courses, improve yourself. Once you do, once you add value, your CEO will notice you. Excellence speaks in any organization. Even if you want to cap it, it's just like what your boss says, that in terms of behavior, you cannot hide it forever. There's one day you'll get noticed. You'll be visible, and then the organization will recognize you. And that's because you have added value to your work immediately you enter the organization. Thank you.
Wow. Thank you so much.
You have to invite Rita to give.
Funny enough, she has already spoken like once or twice, and she's coming back later this month.
Now we are talking. Thank you very much for this contribution.
Yes, yes, yes.
She has answered some questions I refused to answer. Thank you very much.
Okay, okay. Thank you so much, everyone. Thank you so much, Mr. Isaac Orolubagbe.
It's already after 9.
It's already after 9, and you logged into this session 6:20 when we're having some tete-a-tete prior to the formal kickoff. Thank you so much, sir. I really, really appreciate you.